Hello, welcome to the second episode of Hip Hop Choices, the podcast. Long break between the two episodes. Just Christmas, COVID Christmas was hard, difficult, weird. And then spent some time, as explained in the start of the chat with my guest, just sorting some bits out, getting um, like all my promo bits sorted, and then getting us on the podcast platforms. Yeah, it's a really good episode, really funny. My mate Callan have some really good stories. He's really a funny guy. Um, we talk about lots and lots and lots uh, about critiques, about um, how we listen to music, the rise of hip hop on TikTok, which is something really relevant with the whole Busset challenge of late going on. But yeah, hope you enjoy the episode. Here it comes. So hello, welcome to the podcast, Hip Hop Choices from. I've done it all wrong. I haven't done this in ages. Anyway, it's Hip Hop Choices podcast. It's Hip Hop Choices from Assorted Voices. Still sticking with that tagline. Any feedback on that would be great from anyone. So I took a little bit of a break from. The first one I did was released around Christmas, been the 23rd of December. Looking back, and I've just taken a break. Christmas was, Christmas. It was weird though, still, COVID Christmas. But I took a little break and, upgraded some bits and pieces. Hope you like and enjoy them. Um, Pushing to get this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and YouTube. That should hopefully be done by the time you're listening to this episode. But anyway, let's get into today's guest. It's Callan. I work with Callan. Um, I've probably known Callan maybe coming up to 2 to 3 years now. Um, and one of the reasons why I invited Callan on the show, um, one thing it was on my list originally, but I wasn't like he's just I know he's not really into hip hop. It's not I wouldn't say classes as his music he would go to listen to after having conversations with him. But we've had conversations since about this since I've released the first episode, and we've had some interesting conversations. And he sent me some interesting
Hello, can you
links
hear me, by the
and
way?
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
sorry, hello.
I've just yeah. Sorry, I've spoken for a bit, but yeah, that's Callan. But he's got some. I put today. He's got some really interesting points to say, and he's actually really funny. He's a really funny guy, and I think it's going to be a fun episode. So, um, Callan, how are you, mate?
Yeah, good man, good. If for any reason at all there's any drop in conversation or anything like that, it may be you just broke up slightly on some of the things. So hey, look, hopefully
Okay.
the internet just holds out
Yeah, yeah.
throughout the chat. But no, good man. Just been for a walk down seafront and then come back and yeah, excited to
Yeah.
look back over. My music history and my information and knowledge I have of hip hop, which I do and don't. So it's going to be an
Yeah,
interesting delve, really.
yeah, yeah, and that's one of like I don't know if you follow me on follow me on Instagram for this is for BES89. You can see my mission statement is that we have people from different levels of interest, people that maybe listen
Yeah,
to one occasional song every now and again, and some people that are really that's all hip hop, rap, grime, that genre of music is the only music they listen to. So it's good to see that different range of people because hip hop is it's pop music, it's popular, everyone listens to it, it's on your TVs,
yeah.
it's on your radios everywhere. So um, tell me, like, how did you get into hip hop rap? What was your first experience of it?
Okay, so my first experience so I was thinking about this over the last few days, and I was trying to think of my first encounter with, okay, let's look at rap, let's look at hip hop, and my I used to hate everything my sister did. So my sister's 3 years older than me, and it was like, she was bang on Spice Girls at one stage. I hated Spice Girls because obviously I'm not going to like Spice Girls as a young boy. So
Yeah.
then she started to get into like rap and hip hop, and it's most bizarre thing. Like she went out, my sister went out with my grandparents for the day, and she was really enjoying Eminem,
Yeah.
and then my mum and dad were quite strict with, look, you can't, I weren't allowed to watch South Park as a kid, so she weren't allowed to listen to Eminem. And
Yeah.
so she kind of, in a conniving way, tricked my grandparents to buy her Marshall Mathers LP, um, with with one, she wasn't allowed it, and so that was so she got home and she was like, hid it and stuff, and I knew that she got it, and so I there's tracks on there like Kim and Kill You and stuff, and it's like, what the hell are you listening to? Like, I only must have been about.
How did she convince your grandparents to do
I this
that?
this is it. I
That's
don't.
a whole story in itself. Like,
Oh
he's got to
man,
have some great manipulating skills to get someone to
she
buy
she
that
did.
album.
She did. That's the thing. I don't know how. I don't know how she done it. But all of a sudden, there's this album. I'm like, who the hell's that? So that was my only first encounter. But like, in terms of listening, in terms of actually like a head turner, I'd say would be strangely Eminem. Going back to Eminem, but there's the real Slim Shady when he done the video with spitting on young rings. And
Yeah.
so I think that as a young kind of teenage kid, I can't remember what year that dropped. I think I was probably in year seven, or might have been year six. I don't actually have it to hand actually what year it come out, but I remember going back to, I don't know if you remember, early Sky Digital on the TV when you had like
Yeah.
smash hits in the box, and so that video would always come on, and I would be like, oh, this is good. It kind of head turned in a way, and I was like, I quite like this guy. This is funny.
Mm.
Um, so my first introduction towards hip hop and rap type of thing was that kind of comedic um, aspect of making a joke and making fun out of things and putting it to a beat, and I enjoyed it. I was like,
Yeah.
this guy's good. like, so that was my first kind of experience and
Mm.
introduction into it.
Yeah, I would say a lot of people's our age early first experience of hip hop that was or rap that was on the telly would be Eminem.
Mm,
He was very mainstream and he was very comedic with it, so it made him really engaging and really kind of well publicly received. It
yeah.
kind of crossed over into the mainstream. Um, but yeah, did you listen to that album that your sister bought, or was
Not,
it just something that was just there?
it was there. It was just there. And if I'm right in saying, I think my sister would like try and play it sneakily, but obviously when she got found out, she was grounded like for, it must have been like a long grounding. I know that.
Yeah.
Like, one, you've lied to your grandparents. Like, who does that? So there was that. So I didn't. Obviously, I listened to it later, and now I'm older and what have you. And but like, I just remember that was the album that kind of
Mm,
introduced me to. I think because when you're younger, you don't have a genre. You listen to what your parents. I think I listened to your
yeah.
first one about your parents listening to hip hop and early hip hop and rap and what have you. And um, you grow up on what your parents listen to, and my mum was banging out Tina Turner and Michael Jackson, and so you I grew up loving Michael Jackson. So
Yeah.
there was, yeah, there's that to it. So I think you don't really know a genre. You don't know where you belong within music.
Mm. Yeah, the early years of your like musical taste is very much dependent on what you're exposed to. So your parents one, I mean your family, I
Yeah,
mean your friends really. So um that's yeah, that would be if you're not like growing up around hip hop, you wouldn't necessarily get there until later in life, and you may already developed a taste that may not necessarily go well with hip hop.
yeah,
But people change. Like I personally, I like when I was in my teen years, I moved like more to like indie rock because that was really popular at the
Yeah.
time. But as I grew up later, it's kind of switched back to more hip hop and that kind of music.
Mm.
So, describe to me what your current relationship with hip hop and rap is.
I enjoy it. Like
Yeah.
I know there is. I don't have like a. Actually, just on the way back from the seafront, AJ Tracy was on Radio One, and I can sit there and listen to that. I think it's quite good without investing too much time in him.
Mm,
Actually, I can't remember what the song was that was going on, but I can sit and listen to it, and I quite enjoy it. And especially when I used to go to the gym and go to the um, I'd quite like using like the boxing equipment, and when that was on, you'd get pumped, and I used to enjoy, yeah, I enjoy listening to it. I don't, it's not my go-to, um,
yeah.
but the other day I was just making a curry and chucked like hip hop beats on some playlists on Spotify, so I don't have like a specific go-to. It would be more um, playlists to get a, and I don't know how
So
this is how people listen now. I don't know.
like from that, it sounds like you're a casual listener.
Yeah,
Like you would very much. it- For you, it's just whatever. Like this is just me assuming. So correct me. Like whatever sounds good to you, that's it. If it sounds good, you're into it. You're hooked. It
yeah.
doesn't really matter who it's by. You're not. I know there's some people that would say, no, you if you want to be in hip hop, you don't listen to that. I think that's very much like a elitist mentality with it. At
Yeah,
sometimes hip hop, I'm trying to with this podcast, I'm trying to avoid that and just say, right, that's what you listen to. That's fine. And casual listeners,
yeah,
casual listeners mean that hip hop has gone to the top of the charts. Really, if
yeah.
you look at the last, the charts over the last 5 years or so, it's been a lot of hip hop in there, which is great for that music. But it means that there are people that casually just listening to it. There's not, you know,
I
your
think
diehard fans that don't generate that kind of level of interest. I think.
there's a real um what's it, shift in terms, yeah, over the last few years when I hated to, I'd never like to be that person who would turn on the radio on and go, oh, I can't listen to Radio One, but
Mm.
I'll put Radio One on now and I think, I don't know if it's because I'm at 30 or what, but I put it on and I'm like, what is this? Like,
Yeah.
so I'm kind of like, I'm not going to sit here and say Radio 2, but like, I'll put like Heart 80s or Heart 90s on, or chuck Radio
Yeah.
X on, um, or Talksport. So I listen to, I think you have to be in a certain, I would choose to listen to that genre of music. I wouldn't want to just get in my car and think, what on earth's this?
Yeah, you have. It sounds it's very much mood dependent
Yeah, it
for you.
is.
It sounds like right. If I'm just, and it sounds like you're gravitating to more the like chill hip hop,
Yeah,
or like adrenaline inducing ones for your workouts, or your chill ones for when
yeah.
you're cooking or just chilling at home.
You
And
say,
then
I
yeah,
just touched on that about your mood swinging type
yeah,
listening, because at work, I would in the morning all of a sudden go, right, okay, I'm here early. I'm just going to play some tunes, and before 9 o'clock, so I'd flip up my laptop and I would go to 50 Cent in the club. I'd go to Tupac. I'd go to Snoop Dogg. I'd go, the game, and I'd be like, right, okay, and I would want that to get me pumped for the day and get other people pumped around me to start
mm,
work. So I think it's interesting where you touch on about like um what you call it, like emotion based, and um, you make it relatable to pump yourself in a good mood and going before work and going, right, I'm going to smack 50 Cent in the club on it.
mm,
It puts people in a good mood. So
yeah,
you can, if it's a go-to, it's, oh yeah, I'll put this on to put myself in a good mood.
yeah. Yeah. How did people around you in the office react when you
Oh, they
just
love it.
whacked on 50 Cent in the club at like probably half 8, 9 o'clock, where people are just like
Yeah.
just barely woken up?
To be honest, I'm not too fussed. Like there was was one lady I work with must look over and think, oh, Callan, please just give it a rest. But to be honest, like, to to sit there and where I've just moved over to a new building and the people don't really know me too much, and
Mhm.
but it's just a way of I think it's quite interesting when you look at like music kind of bringing people together. You touch on that type of element about music and hip hop, and
Mhm.
um, it's kind of helped in a way that's gone like, oh, Callan, you're gonna put some music on this morning. So it kind of brings people together and people can relate to it. And some people might think, oh, mate, give it a rest, but they know it's only till 9 o'clock. So if they come over and go, Callan, mate, do you mind just toning that down a little bit? I see it. I go, yeah, absolutely. I'll tone that down. But I think I do it to put myself in a good mood, and other people, if I feel like it engages them, and they get pumped as well because they're like, oh yeah, like I love this song, So
Yeah.
I think as a collective, it's good, instead of sitting there in silence before 9, right? I don't know.
Yeah, I think that also just shows that um, there's there's a stereotype that hip hop is just for a certain type of person. When in actual fact, like if you looked at the people in our office, you would say there's very few people that would be interested in that kind of music.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
actually, you go up in the morning, people are like, yeah, that's what I needed. And it just shows that music isn't like for one type of person. Music is for everyone. Anyone can be interested in anything, and that's again part of what this podcast is that there's so many. Hip hop is such a diverse genre of music, rap, grime, all that is so diverse now, and
yeah,
there's there's you may not like one form of hip hop or one rapper or one artist, but you could like someone that's still class that in a completely different
yeah.
side of things. So
I
yeah,
work in a pub, and in the evenings, like when they're cleaning down in the kitchen, my mate he puts on. Is it drill? Is it drill? What's
drill, yeah.
drill? That's it, not drill. And he's putting this on, and I mean, I kind of haven't really dipped my toe in that water really, but I listen to some of some of it, and I go in the in the kitchen with him and just like piss about a little bit and like skank out and then come back in and get behind the bar. But again, it keeps touching on your mood.
Yeah,
It's a mood lifter, So, but
yeah.
but yeah, there's so many different types, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll go into the next section, which is Tupac or Biggie. Tell me, is it Tupac or is it Biggie for you?
Well, I would go Tupac. Um, Now, one of my best mates growing up, he is huge on Tupac, and I kind of um, grew up listening to some of his music at a young age, and I wasn't hooked um,
Yeah.
because it wasn't something that I was. Oh, I can relate to all this. It was just a bloke rapping, and I didn't get it. I was probably what I would say 11, 12 at the
Yeah.
time, or probably 10, 11, 12. And he would joke and be like, oh, I've written this lyric, I've written, and I'd be like, oh, shut up, mate, you probably haven't, but he probably has. This is it. Like, so, but I would sit and listen to a few things with him, and one song I do like of Tupac's, which I think I don't know if it's a B-side, it's called Running.
Mm.
um, and I don't know if it was like a remake, or I don't know what happened with it, but there's a track called Running, which I like, which is just off of the beaten record of his changes, because my experience of Tupac is probably a lot of they would go to changes as his absolute banger, and there's probably more layers to Tupac, and there's obviously he probably wrote some incredible albums, but because again you go back to casual listening, I'm not going to sit back and listen to, oh God, Nick, do you remember his third album? Like I got a clue. Like, so I think as a casual listener, someone talks about a song or someone shares a song, and you think, okay, that's cool, and then you move on. I think he was more to me. I knew more about Tupac. I don't know what year I don't know what year he died. What year did he die?
Let me have a quick
Quick.
Google because I don't remember
Mm,
either what year he's died. But it's interesting to say that you first got into him at around 11 because at 11 and 12, Tupac was very much like relatable for me.
Mm.
Um, and it might have been that for you, you hadn't experienced a similar life to him
No.
as maybe I would have seen similarities in his life to mine,
Yeah.
and you weren't quite ready for that yet. And then that's what I was saying about earlier, where like went through a stage early, like teens,
Mm.
um, like as a child growing up in a household that was playing hip hop and rap and that kind of music,
Mm.
and then drifted away and then came back to it as I realised that it had an importance on my life.
Yeah.
Tupac died in 1996.
Okay. Fair
Um,
play. Fair play.
yeah,
'Cause
so yeah, you probably got after that. There was probably uh, a bigger push on his music after he died, and then you probably were exposed to more of it roughly around then.
but
I
so
would say.
so from probably more of a commercial aspect than a than a raw aspect maybe because you I think yeah so as I was what I was 10 in um 2000. So
Yeah.
um, hanging around with my mate who used to listen to Tupac, I there's an album he released. I remember it being a white cover, and it was like a some of the tracks. There was one absolute banger on there. I can't remember what it's called.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, maybe he was you. Maybe people today, like my generation, who didn't used to listen to Tupac when he was alive, would probably connect to him more because they would be there when he was releasing music and he was alive, and it was all very quite big that Tupac Biggie conversation. But someone probably like myself, I just couldn't connect to it. All I knew was the song running and changes, and then so. But I haven't invested any listening time in Biggie, so yeah, so I would just go Tupac to be honest. But
I would say that you, from what you've said earlier about you being into like that kind of mood and that energy, for me, I always lean on the side of Biggie, and it's not to say that Tupac is worse. It's
mm,
never, this is a choice. It's never like that person is the worst choice. It's more like this is who I prefer.
yeah,
Not to discredit Tupac, he's one of the greatest ever.
yeah,
But Biggie for me is absolutely always about mood. Always like he sets the scene, he sets a tone, he sets a vibe, and I think you would really enjoy Biggie stuff. I
yeah,
think you would. I think it would be definitely be up your street
yeah,
and something you would play in the morning to get you pumped for work, or as a while you're cooking.
mm.
I definitely think you would enjoy his kind of music.
Can I ask you a question then?
Yeah, go for
Do
it.
you think that because Tupac dropped that song Changes, that Tupac is now more relatable to people because that song is played a lot more than maybe what Biggie stuff would be played from on a commercial aspect?
Yeah, I would say that definitely. I would say Tupac is regarded as the political
Yeah,
rapper, and what of his a lot of his raps still apply to this day. Whereas Biggie was more seen as wasn't seen like that. But I still think Biggie's music exactly like if you put a Biggie song on, it will still get its same reaction it did when it first released to this day,
yeah,
and it's still very much it. Biggie knows from my person how to start a party, how to create that party vibe,
yeah,
and both things are still relevant. You still need someone that's talking about issues, but you still, if all the music was about, you know, political issues or social economic issues
yeah,
or like that, no one would listen to music at all. People get bored of it.
yeah,
So you do need the flip side, and and I think that's probably why Tupac is more regarded more a commercial aspect. You hear more of his songs than you do Biggie's, I would say, or that changes song is probably played more than any other Biggie song.
yeah.
I would say in the mainstream circuit, but
I find it interesting
uh,
to see like who would we like. It's like the Ronaldo, Messi, who's the goat. It's like
yeah,
if Tupac and Biggie were going at it today, like with social media presence, with like these massive brand deals that would be coming their way. Like you look at Stormzy now. So if you was to put Stormzy, Tupac, Biggie now today is out there doing their thing. Do you think that they would still? I don't know. I don't know if that's a relevant question, but
Oh
from a
yeah, I think you you would like to think, um, from what they achieved in such a short career,
hmm,
considering now you have rappers that are in their late 60s,
yeah,
some
yeah,
rappers, and like in their short career, you think they would progress and get better and better.
hmm,
But there's also the flip side where they could get worse and
yeah,
worse.
yeah, yeah.
So you don't
So
really
should
want
have
to.
retired early,
You should
like
have retired earlier.
yeah,
So, but yeah, I do think they could if they like, for example, someone like Jay-Z has the longevity he's had because he's stuck to who he is as a person, been authentic, but also moved with the times.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
He's
Beats and
beats,
yeah,
did work for different producers, gone a bit commercial, then gone back to something that's from his own, what he wants to do.
hmm,
Um, but I think Tupac and Biggie would have definitely done that.
yeah,
It would have been interesting to see how. I think for me, from what I've seen portrayed of Tupac, and in his biopics and what people have said about him, documentaries, he would have been the one on Twitter the most.
yeah, yeah,
He would have been out there tweeting non-stop,
yeah.
and I could see him doing that a lot.
Hopefully not as much as
Y-
Donald Trump. Do you know what
yeah, yeah,
I mean?
but yeah, I definitely think Tupac would have used social media to his
Yeah.
advantage. I think Biggie
It's
would have
interesting.
just,
It's interesting
yeah,
that they're not
yeah,
around today to experience that, and it's yeah,
yeah,
you wouldn't what we don't know, but you can only
yeah,
think, oh, okay, what would it
yeah,
have been, But I think it's
yeah,
interesting. It's definitely an interesting conversation.
yeah. So where do you kind of stand on like other kind of hip hop verses? I know you're not, you said you're just a casual listener, but
Yeah.
do you have a preference like Kanye or Jay-Z? Like,
Um, not see. I didn't even think about this actually with Kanye. Um, I was a big Kanye fan actually, alongside like Kanye and Eminem. I didn't even think about this actually. He dropped that uh, L- Love Sounds or something. Jay Z was it?
808 and Heartbreaks.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's probably would have one that I think would have been
yeah.
like the one you talk about. It's got the hearts on the front.
Yes,
Yeah,
the one with the heart, and there was
yeah.
the one that I think it had Touch This. Was it that Touch This guy on? It had that kind of purple coloured album.
Um, Late registration
Yep. Yes. Yeah.
or
So
no, not late registration. It's not that one. That's the brown. No, it is late registration. It has
yeah.
Touch the Sky, but it's not a purple album.
Okay.
That one is what's the purple one?
I'm really kind of putting you on the spot now.
Yeah,
Like,
you're
yeah.
testing my
Yeah. Sorry,
my
man.
knowledge, which
Sorry, dude.
I'm no expert. I
No, no, it's
don't
cool.
know. It's called Graduation. That's it.
Okay.
Graduation is the purple one.
So he done was it Superstar? Is that If You Are, would you say that he done that one? Think if that was
I think
I'm
that's
thinking about someone else, aren't I?
might be thinking about Lupe
I
Fiasco.
mean, yeah, that was
Is it
Lupe Fiasco. It was Lupe Fiasco. Yeah,
Lupe Fiasco?
yeah,
I was a massive fan of
yeah.
Lupe Fiasco back in the day.
Absolutely. I think I got that album as well. But I remember the Purple album and
Yeah,
Kanye. I remember kind of gravitating towards him before I got older and realised that not a lot of people really liked him um, for how much he kind of loved himself.
yeah,
But I didn't know that. I was just naive and listened to music that Kanye was dropping some bombs, and it was like, oh, okay, I quite like this guy. So I kind of went through that stage of listening to him as well. So in terms of preferences, yeah, I'd probably go old school Kanye, and also
yeah.
also Kano. I also quite like Kano. um,
Oh, that's a. Uh, I would not put you down as someone who would
no,
listen to Kano,
was
but
it?
I would say
Yeah,
that is, Kano is an elite rapper. He's one of my favorites.
yeah.
For Christmas I got his Hoodies All Summer on vinyl, and
Okay,
that's one of my favorite albums of last year. And I would say Kano is one of the most consistent rappers
yeah,
in my lifetime. He always brings, you know, always perfect. for me.
Yeah.
Always, no album is a flop, no song is a flop. Everything's full price. So it
It's
surprised me you say Kano.
Oh, mate, do you know, it's so interesting actually, because when you do start chatting, you start thinking, and then you think even Pro Green, when Professor Green dropped Jungle,
Yeah,
what a banger! And like we used to go in the pub, literally, it would be a go-to. We'd go in the pub and we'd go on the where you select your music, and mate, it would
yeah,
just be Jungle every time I go in there. And like, and like you've got these old blokes in the pub, and it's like it's getting wild round here. People must think, like what are we doing here? Like,
yeah,
but like it's funny when you start thinking about that. And Devlin, um, I used to
yeah.
enjoy listening to Devlin, and he used to do some stuff with Ed Sheeran, and I yeah, he done like some little freestyle stuff, and Ed Sheeran was on his guitar, and Devlin was just like spitting bars, and it was like this guy's good. And so yeah, it's interesting. It's really interesting because maybe I'm more into
It
it
sounds like
than
you do listen to like
yeah,
because to go like Devlin is not um someone that ever pushed it mainstream. I would say never, broke into the charts. You know,
yeah,
so that is a real hard like that's a like someone who's into their grime would
yeah.
say Devlin. So I'll give you credit for that, and like Kano as well, and yeah, give you credit for
So funny
those.
story, funny story. We used to when I used to like go out and to the pubs and stuff. Like I would try and have rap battles. I don't even think I've told you this story, man.
No,
I haven't
you
told you
have
this
them.
story.
That'd be great.
And there's two occasions where I had these like little rap battles, and there was this. So I'm from Dover, so our postcode is 01304. Our telephone
Yeah,
aerial
area
code,
code.
yeah, yeah. Um, and I was remember having this like bounce off with this guy, and I was like, oh yeah. I said Sonic, and I was like, oh yeah, it's Callan coming from the motherfucking 01304, and everyone was like, oh, like that. And so I used to do, and there was this one occasion where it was New Year's Eve, and we was at this pub, and there was a group of people outside, and I was like, there was this guy, I think they call him like J Levels or something. He's just like known like locally. I probably shouldn't name people, but hey, but so he had he had like a scar on his face, like he'd been like from a young age. And
Mm.
when something comes out your mouth and you think, why did you say that? And he was good. He was spitting bars. He was quick, and I was just like coming at a comedic angle. And I literally, you don't even think, why did I say that? But I was like, oh, you must be out of Lion King with that scar on your face. And I, I, I was like, oh God. And it was like I think he's going to hit me. It was that kind of reaction. I was like, I think he's going to hit me. And everyone was like, oh my God. And I was like, he ended up getting drunk. He ended up throwing his glass against the wall and it's smashing. And everyone was like, "Oh my God!" And I was like, "Right, get inside, just have a beer." Get inside. I was like, "Mate," like. Then I was like, "Okay, like maybe I shouldn't do that because I got one of those faces that's gonna get punched one day." So I kind of like, yeah, I just kind of picked the wrong rap battle. But as I got older, just went to dance offs, so it was fine. But yeah,
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 it's quite funny when you unfold lots of different stories, experiences
yeah,
that you have, right?
yeah. So, were you into rap battles? Because there was a period where they were super
Oh
popular.
man,
Were you into them?
yeah, people used to do it at school, and I think it started off as like people used to beatbox and do these like beatbox battles, and as I as I got kind of, I used to work in Folkestone, in a bar in Folkestone, and we all got all got friendly, and we'd go house parties and stuff, and we would, I don't know. We used to always try and just joke around with it and try and just insult, and it kind of became a little bit of a, not a thing, but you just do it over, a few drinks, and it would be quite funny. So it wasn't ever, it was just one of those. I have like a musical theatre background, so we'd do these like sing-offs of like
Mhm.
shows, of musical shows, like
Yeah.
singing like Bugsy Malone, and so so it was that, not the
Mm.
rapper, but nice link, great link.
Yeah.
But so we'd do stuff like that. But then, as we, you kind of, and you not meddle, but you just joke around and piss about with it, and
Yeah.
it's quite funny, But yeah, that's my kind of. It was never serious. It was just to,
Yeah, your brief foray into rap battle.
yeah, yeah,
But
you know,
yeah, it was really popular at one point, like, and it still is, and it's seen as one of the mainstays of like how a rapper, especially in the UK, still. From what I know,
yeah.
I'm not sure about how it's still based in the USA, but like the UK still is still like a mainstay of like, can this person do battle rap? Can they go? They're still like fire in the booth, which is like very similar, like that one take kind of pressure, even on like the series. I don't know if you ever watched like on BBC Three Rap Game UK. So they have a
Oh,
battle rap round,
okay.
and that's always really good. I recommend it. I think you would enjoy that
So
because it
I've
is
seen
that.
I've seen some of that. I find it
Yeah,
quite cheesy, because I find it quite staged.
yeah, I can get that.
So I find it quite, you see James Corden trying to be funny with it, and it's not. But
No, I think you're thinking of what do you call it? Lip sync, lip sync battle.
oh no,
Is that true?
oh okay, that might be it. That might be it then. Um,
Yeah, there's Rap Game UK. It's with DJ Target, Krypton Conan, and they get six upcoming unsigned artists from the UK, and they like put them through a series of It's a bit like The Apprentice meets X Factor. They get a series of challenges they have to do. So, write 16 bars to this.
yeah,
Do an a cappella with an orchestra was one round this year. Make a music video. Was it make a beat? And then everyone has to go on the same beat, or make something political,
yeah.
and it's all that. It's really, really, really good. It's had two seasons, and the third season's coming
There was
this year.
one. I was just like slightly talking off air about
Yeah,
battle
yeah,
rap, and I do watch a lot on YouTube, and there's a
okay.
you might be familiar with it. There's a thing called Don't Flop, and
Yeah,
so there's two guys on there that I do want to give a bit of airtime to. There's like Shuffle T and Marlowe, and they're brought up with a kind of university background, and it's kind of poetically wrote, to for bars that are like multis, and they get kind of slammed for doing these multis that all link just for comedic effect. Um, but I engage with something that is funny and that makes me laugh, and I actually I actually wrote down one of their quotes. This guy must have threw some diss at him, and so it was his time to come back at him, and this is my quote. This is my quote. He said, um, "You said we look like Fresco. That was a shit line. I don't really have a flip for that, but please take off your sunglasses. You're inside." And it was like, it's just stupid. Like this guy, this big guy, they're in this dark room and he's in these sunglasses and hat, and he thinks he's just like some big bad rapper, and it's like, it's just that comedic flip of like, please take off your
yeah,
sunglasses, you're inside. Like, it just, so that's what I like about watching battle rap, because
yeah,
I think it's funny, and that's what I can relate to, something that actually goes, oh, I
yeah,
can sit for half hour and watch that, and I'll go to
yeah.
bed, so
Yeah. Well, I would recommend like an artist too, which is a rapper, which is Little Dicky.
yeah, I've
Um,
heard of him.
he would be right up your street. There's a song he does with it's called Snoop Dogg,
Okay,
and it's called Professional Rapper,
yeah,
and it's him pitching to Snoop Dogg why he should be signed by
okay,
Snoop Dogg,
okay,
and it's really, I think you would really enjoy his album. And he's got a show on BBC Three called Dicky or something like that,
okay,
and he's like this Jewish rapper,
yeah,
and it's like, I think you would really enjoy his stuff.
okay.
So
He does that,
check it out.
that little thing. He's like little Dicky in here, so like,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I'll send you some of his stuff. He had that song with Chris Brown where they swap bodies.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
Fair play.
I honestly think that is right up your alley. You would love it. I'm going to send you some links
Yeah,
after,
yeah, fair,
so
fair. Cheers, man.
go check it out. So the next section is all killer, no filler. So what hip hop album, rap, grime album can you listen to like without skipping a song? Like,
To me, there was only one album that I instantly went bang.
Mm.
too, which was Eminem's Encore.
Yeah.
Now, again, while I was kind of doing some prep and what for our for the podcast, and it was like I read into a little bit about it, and like a lot of Eminem's albums of late have been slammed, and this one again, I read some reviews about it, and it was like, apparently he had to rush the album because there was a leak. Um, but to me, if I listen to it back through, it doesn't. I don't feel like it's rushed. I feel like again, there's some really comedic songs on there, like "Arse Like That." Um,
Yeah, there is some there's on that song,
"Just
there's
Lose
some,
It"
like,
as well.
yeah,
You got "Like
there's
Toy."
some songs on there that went into the chart, so
Yeah, to me, like it was, he went through that time of probably he's a, what's the word, something of your own success.
he
I can't
well,
remember
I
the
know what you mean. I
terminology.
can't
Yeah,
remember the
no,
saying.
but
Yeah,
like,
we'll probably get comments about that when we
yeah,
can't remember.
I think just completely testing you tonight. but,
Yeah,
but I think he's is it a victim of your own success? I'm not sure, but
yeah, that's
yeah.
it, victim of his own success,
So
yeah.
you go back to that, and you got songs like Mockingbird, Toy Soldiers, and
Mm,
so that were absolute bangers, and people, as you say, they're in the charts. So I some of his recent stuff, hasn't hit the charts, so he's considered a flop. But there's probably a lot of detail in those albums that express a lot. So, but without going off subject, like for an album, I would sit and listen to Encore, and also didn't trick my grandparents to buy it for me. So it was, you know what I mean? I can hold my head up high and be like, okay, I went and brought that.
yeah,
But yeah, again, it's just a nostalgic album and something I would just put in my car, play it. And I don't think it. I think it's quite. Don't think it loses time. It's quite timeless as well. There's a lot of political stuff on there. Um, George Bush, I think, was the president, and he digs a lot at him, and there's just a lot in it that it seems that there's always something wrong politically. There's always political questions, and I think I think he covers a lot in his album. And again, someone who doesn't sit and listen to every lyric as you like as that kind of casual listening. I can sit there and be like, yeah, I like this. This is I can sit and listen to this. And there's also a song called "Crazy in Love" on there. It's more upbeat,
yeah.
um, and I think it's towards
So
the end.
it sounds like it's got, like, this album for you has got a lot of what you like about hip hop. It's got, like you say, Crazy in Love, which is a bit upbeat. You've got a little bit political, but not too deep for you, and
Yeah,
it's got some jokey song like "Arse Like That" on it for you
yeah,
as well. It sounds like this is your, like, album that, like, hits all your buttons, and Eminem is very much that. He can do the comedic stuff really well, and he can do but he's also, like, an extreme technician.
mm,
Like, he can, like there's a song he had with, what's this song called? He released it a couple maybe a year ago, maybe 2 years.
okay,
I can't remember what it's called, but I'll see if I can find it. But it is him at his absolute best, and it's kinda like everyone goes, "That's the Eminem we want. That's the Eminem what
yeah, yeah,
we need to hear from. Where's this been like,
yeah,
where's this been going? Um, like, where's he been with all this stuff?" And it's kind of like, well, this is a guy who undoubtedly will go down as one of, like, the top, rappers ever.
yeah,
And he did it, and he's still about, he's still doing stuff. He's got, classics out there.
yeah. And he's
He
evolved
will.
with he
He's
has
evolved.
people under him, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he's involved with the times. He's tried to make sure that he still makes music, and he's, part of, you know, being, rappers, hip hop musicians
Mm.
is you experiment,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and sometimes it doesn't go right, and sometimes it does.
yeah,
So that's all it is really,
yeah, yeah,
and sometimes it goes right, but at least he's trying to, uh, you know, do something about, like, test himself more than, other rappers that just continually push out the same thing.
yeah.
The song he's on with that where he's absolutely kills it is Caterpillar with Royce the 5'9",
Okay,
which I think you will like because it's really like intense and upbeat.
Yeah,
So I think you would like it.
fair play. I
But
think.
yeah, I think
Go on.
Eminem's given a bad rap for like just experimenting with the music, and hip hop
Yeah.
is about like the only way to move forward is to keep experimenting, keep pushing the boundaries. So
I think without going too deep on that subject, I think that we are when we there's a lot of criticism. Like people love to criticize, and
yeah,
I think that, say for example, I mean, you look at, say, something like, is it Chester Bedingfield with Lincoln Park?
yeah,
And like, so say for example, he had a lot of, unfortunately, he took his life, and so it, if you continually, say for example, Lincoln Park were criticized and he didn't, you know, that constant barricade about your music or whatever, like, so I feel I don't know what I'm trying to say, but if you constantly go at someone and go, "Well, this is crap, this is crap, this is crap, he ain't producing any music anymore," like, I think you have to, without making it a mental health chat, I think you have to, journalists and critics and things, that kind of be kind movement, and I think you kind of have to sometimes consider that, actually, when you turn around and go, "Oh, he's not producing any good music, he's lost it, he's crap." I mean, if a journalist
mm,
or critic was to put that out and, you know, someone was to spiral, or it's just, I think we have to be careful in terms of how we critique, um, you know, artists, if without going into too much detail and making it really in depth, if you understand
I
what I'm
think
saying.
everyone like like just in terms of music and reviewing stuff, everyone feels they have to come up with something that uh, we spoke about this like before,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
yesterday, about it being about content,
yeah,
and reviewing is content. So in order to get people to read your review, to be engaged, to then get monetized and stuff like
mm,
that, you've got to have an extreme view or something
yeah,
that's
yeah,
really kind of interesting or really kind of like no one's ever heard this or said this or seen this before.
mm,
And what ends up happening is that people do one really harsh review, or same with harsh comment.
yeah,
They get likes for it, and then they keep doing it.
yeah,
But you have to keep topping it because the people then will get bored. So you have to keep pushing it. And I think what happens with some musicians like is that it starts to become someone's out to look for something to say bad about that
yeah,
person instantly before they've even heard the song. I often don't like go straight to the album first. Like, there's only a few artists that I go straight and listen to that as soon as they drop their album.
yeah,
Otherwise, I just take it as I come. I don't listen to any reviews. Someone says such and such has got a new album out. I don't read the review or the headline or what anyone thinks about it. I let it sit and then I come back to listen to it so I don't get, you know, bogged down with other people's opinions because I think that's what happens. Sometimes, you know, people's opinions influence you when you go in to listen to an album.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, I think there's definitely something about like to bring it back to Eminem, where it's this thing that people have this um, vision of him
yeah. I mean,
or this standard.
he even made
Yeah,
an album to apologize for his, like, his, is it relapse or recovery?
yeah,
And I'm like, why you feel the need to have to do that, or because his album was slammed so much, and it's like, he's producing work, he's at work, he's producing, you know content, he's trying to be relevant, and I just think that we, you can slam an artist so much, and you just have to be careful in terms of, okay, well, yeah, as you say, you have to make one bad review as making content, as a critique, and then you're kind of having to better that. And I just think there's a conversation to be had, like, around how we how we critique an artist, and we're so easy to do that, but actually, let's look at 2021 being a positive, healthy year, and let's be kind, and let's be happy, and let's not spread that, oh, they're shit, don't listen, like, I just think we need to
yeah.
take stock sometimes, actually, and appreciate the hard work and the effort that people put in. You know, without going too deep. I don't know. I feel like I was going
Yeah,
deep, but it's like this
yeah,
is Eminem, you know, like he's been doing it for
yeah.
years.
He makes songs like "Ass Like That."
Yeah,
He
yeah.
doesn't make
So I suppose, yeah, he slammed Michael Jackson, and
yeah,
so
yeah,
hey, but it's just
yeah,
that's probably just a conversation for another day. But maybe how we critique. Hey, let's
yeah. So the next section is like your hip hop hell. So describe to me like your hip hop hell, like your pet peeve about hip hop, or something
okay.
that you wish hip hop didn't do. Um, like I know you like we've discussed, you're a casualist, so
Mm.
you might not have like something in depth, but I'd just be interested to know what your pet peeve about it is.
Okay, well, I've got um one he's probably my biggest pet heave really. Was when around 2003. So I listed some artists. Um,
Oh, you got a list.
yeah, this is
Okay.
just going back to my critiquing people. um, um, but there was a movement around 2003, and it's probably because I didn't want to conform to the norm. I never wanted to do what everyone else is doing and what everyone else was listening to, and I always wanted to try and find different angles and different musicians and have you. So there was a period, and here's the list of names: Nelly, LL Cool J, Ja Rule, Mario, Twister, Neo. Um, like so sick of love songs. I was so sick of that song. It was so plain. But there was a movement, and literally you would put on the music channel, be like, "Welcome to Nellyville," and I'd be like, "Oh no, please take me out of Nellyville," because every time you went on the telly, it was on, and because it hit, it kind of. I was never a cool kid, and I was never like streetwise or anything like that. So, but you had a lot of people at school, and I was probably what 2000, because I was like 13, like going through like puberty at that 13 age, like trying to find yourself. And so, but I didn't want to find myself where everyone else was because it all sounded the same, and so there was probably a big commercialized movement of rappers producing the same. It all just sounded. I just thought, oh my god, like there's no individuality. There was nothing for me to hook onto, and the biggest song, that LL Cool J, Hush, like every time it come on, like you'd be sitting there like, Hush baby, gonna let you. I'll be like, oh no, please, like. So it completely contradicts my critique in this here. So sorry if there's anyone out there going, well, what is this going on about? But I think I think that as a young kid, as a teenager, put me off a lot of this hip hop genre.
Yeah,
So I feel like because I kind of introduced myself to Eminem pre this
yeah,
commercialized genre, I felt attached to that in a way of what is this that's coming out, because it was just quite dreary and the same. And for me, that put me off listening to hip hop because I didn't want to be like everyone else. There was a lot of sheep, and like, oh, I love this song, I love this. Everyone's making CDs, and and I just think, oh God. And so I didn't want to be a slave to the movement of, oh, this is all out, so you've got to like this and you've got to wear this kind of clothing. That was never me. So
yeah.
that's my pet heave. That's my pet heave that
So 2003 rap,
really screwed me, man.
really definitive era. But
Yeah,
I think that was probably the stage where hip hop and rap were thrust upon the main stage. Like literally, it accelerated. And I think I spoke about this in the episode with my brother a bit,
yeah.
uh,
I
touched on
remember
a
you
bit.
talking
Is
about it, actually, yeah.
50 Cent get Rich Die Trying album came out and literally changed the scope
Yeah.
of the music world. It
Mm.
became something that everyone wanted to recreate. Get Rich or Die Trying, 2003. Everyone wanted to recreate. Everyone wanted a piece of it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It sold like you know albums upon albums upon albums. There was a film. The songs on there are still classics
Yeah.
today. In the club is on there.
Oh, yeah.
PIMP's on there. 21 Questions is on
It's
there.
Candy Shop on
Like,
there. Is that the next?
no, I think Cannon Shop's the next one.
Yeah, okay. Another
PIMP.
banger.
Like, there were songs on there, but literally to this day, if you put them on,
Yeah,
people are still getting up and dancing. So there was a real push, I think, for like commercializing, and that's why you get
yeah.
the same. Like,
Clingers
if you
on.
think about,
Like,
yeah, 21 Questions and Hush are very similar. If you think about it,
okay,
like they're very similar kind of thing, trying to recreate each other, and it's kind of just what happens with music.
yeah.
It becomes popular. Everyone tries to jump on it and recreate it and turn it into something that, to sell more records. And I think that's kind of changed
Yeah.
today. I don't know if you agree. It would be like you can find your own thing, can find
I
your own individual people that you like more now.
I think how we listen to music has changed. And
Hmm.
this is I was going to go on to just that I think you got the just a little bit later in how we listen to music, but um it's very snippet now. It's very, if it's on trend, if something's just dropped on TikTok and all of a sudden there's an unknown artist just come out of nowhere. So I think that the way we listen to music is different to the way we used to listen to music, and
Hmm.
if it doesn't hook you in 10 seconds, you're going to skip. So there is, and that's the thing. I say 2003 being a really dark year for me understanding hip hop, but when 50 Cent dropped, it was whoa, what the hell is this like? And
Yeah,
so that was a hook. That was a hook in 2003. But everything else just didn't seem any good. It didn't seem, as good as what 50 Cent was producing, and it was, so everything was just a bit less. It didn't
yeah.
hook me, and everyone just jumped on the
Watered down
bandwagon.
50 Cent, basically.
Yeah, exactly. And no one likes a watered
But
down drink, so it's
yeah, but that's how it goes. I think when something becomes popular, everyone tries to recreate it,
yeah.
make their own money off it, and it doesn't. It's not as good as the original.
Mm.
That's all it is really. But yeah, 2003. That's very niche. 2003 hip hop
Yeah, I
was
really
your
thought
thing.
about it, and also like,
Yeah, I can tell. You
yeah.
listed about
And my sister
six
would have been
people.
16 and she was all over it. And again, going
Yeah,
back to previous, like I never really enjoyed what my sister liked. So there was
yeah,
already a hatred there. And so whatever she put on. So and instantly when everyone else is listening to it, I'm like, oh my God, like it's morphing into my sister. Like,
yeah.
so yeah, it's interesting. It is interesting,
Yeah. So the next section is like hip hop Mount Rushmore. So this is like if you were given unlimited amount of money, a mountain, which top four hip hop artist rappers would you sculpt into a side of a mountain?
Okay, so I went with Eminem, bang, like
Yeah,
definitely there.
yeah,
And then talking to you now and kind of unturning kind of leaves that I didn't think about speaking about tonight.
yeah,
Um, you could put. I, d- I mean, I enjoyed Devlin's stuff as
yeah,
Pager was, and Pro Green and Kano. So there was that more of a grime element that I enjoyed. Um, but I don't think like 50 Cent can be ignored. Um,
yeah,
so I would go Eminem, 50 Cent, um, and then I think I did have Stormzy in here,
yeah,
because at the moment anything he releases people listen to, and it kind of at the stage where Dizzy Rascal was, and we spoke about it the other day when
mm,
anything he touched was turning to gold. Anything was going number one. Holiday, um, and so I think Stormzy's at the moment where Dizzy Rascal was, and anything that he released was going to be a banger no matter what happened. So
yeah.
um,
So you got Eminem,
50
50
Cent.
Cent,
So I think
Stormzy.
Stormzy's got
You
to be
got
in there, and this is just a little bit left field because I mentioned battle rap earlier, and something I
yeah,
sit and enjoy and um, prefer to listen to rather than any others is that
mm,
Shuffle T and Marlowe as a little as a as a
duo.
duo, yeah. So
Yeah,
I know it's a different category to the others, but something that I enjoy listening to, I'd put them up there and
yeah,
go, I'll tell you what, yeah, I'll put you on there, you know?
yeah. So you've got like it'd be interesting to like go a bit deeper into like we spoke about Eminem and 50 Cent, and we touched on a bit of Shuffle T, Marlowe, they comedic about, but like Stormzy, um, through some of the people I speak to about like grime and things, Stormzy is kind of like not undeserved, not he's talented, he does great stuff,
Yeah,
but he's very much like people see him as the face of grime,
yeah,
but don't realize grime has been going from you know ages. So that's the surface level that they have it, and that's their expectation they have.
yeah. Maybe that's a
Um,
naive um, answer from myself in terms of,
no, no, I wouldn't say not naive at all. It's just
mm,
what you're exposed to, and
yeah,
another thing would be like there's no like the one of my thing is there's no right answers to this. I like Stormzy, I like his
yeah.
music. I just think that it'd be interesting to think like to hear from what you think about what makes Stormzy more appealing to you than someone like, for example, there are artists that have been doing it longer from far,
Yeah.
equally as talented. Like what made Stormzy special, like Kano, for example, Skepta, Wiley, Jeremy, DWE, Chip, and you're probably thinking, I have no idea
No,
what
no,
you're
no, I
talking
do, I do, because
about.
I used to listen to Skepta,
Yeah,
just from that in that kind of pro green time that when
yeah,
he was about, and so I kind of discovered Skepta. I think I was must have been around 22, so 2012 time.
yeah,
Um, so there was that type of music that was out. So I completely resonate with that. Um, but I think, yeah, I see the angle you're coming in at, because yeah, but maybe it's because Stormzy has the like when you look at Tupac, for example, there was that like kind of commercial aspect to Tupac where
mm,
I think commercially Stormzy has done he's there because he's commercially done the right things. Um,
yeah,
and I watched a boxing documentary earlier actually, and there's
mm,
some gentleman called something Greaves, and his fight record was terrible, and there was a big promoter there and said like his attitude is exactly what we want, and if he would have been taken at a younger age and developed and trained, he would have been a
mm,
star. But his record was like he had 78 fights, he only won four. um, so, but he, if he would have been worked with in the right way and given the right opportunities, he would have been a lot bigger. Now, probably going back to, I don't know it too well, but maybe Stormzy has had that the right exposure at the right time to drop the song, the right people round him, and the right people pushing him, and all of a sudden, everyone knows Stormzy. But these other people are just as talented, but haven't had that exposure, haven't had maybe a financial push um, to what Stormzy might have had. Don't get me wrong, I don't know that background, but maybe he's kind of right place, right time, dropped the right song, people jumped on that and plowed money into that to make him the star that he is now.
yeah. I get that. I could see that. Like it, I definitely think that's a part of it. It's the right time. He was the age of social media
Hmm,
he was born into, and around that time there was a lot of um, young people just recording stuff, putting it on YouTube
yeah,
because you just can. Anyone can go on YouTube these days and put it on there.
yeah,
And he probably came around, had the right time, the right tools available to him.
yeah,
Um, and yeah, it not. And again, it's not to say he's not
hmm,
talented. Not to say at all. It's just that these the other rappers around that came before him probably was a
yeah,
bit too soon to be breaking through, but into the mainstream, or there was very little understanding of what that music was,
hmm,
or or whether it would be popular enough
Yeah.
to hit the target market they wanted to hit. But yeah, definitely now, you know, there's like AJ Tracy's, there's H, like they, those are the popular people from
Yeah.
grime. But I would, I would want to say like to anyone listening to it, make sure you go. Like this is just the person I
Yeah.
am. Go listen to people that come before it because they really set that platform for those people to thrive.
Yeah.
And I would make sure if you are interested or you really love Storms or you really love H, go listen to who they were listening to
Mm.
because they were most definitely listening to your Kanos, your Skeptors, your JMEs, all those lot. You know, before they would. That's who they were growing up on. So
Yeah.
yeah, I would definitely shout that.
Yeah,
Oh, so the next section, if no hip hop, so describe between your listening habits now. Like if you don't listen to hip hop or you're not listening, what else do you chuck on? I know it's going to be completely
Yeah,
different
it's
from
completely
what I
different, completely different. And I think that's what's quite nice about having that diverse music range, right? And that put in that right mood. So, um, there's just a shout out to a band. There's a band called Bears Den who I have. They've released 4 albums and seen them twice, and they're not a band that are well known commercially, and they haven't hit that peak of all of a sudden bang there. I quite like the fact they're a little bit undercovered. Not a lot of people are going to hear about Bears Den, but they they're very kind of acoustic indie folk, quite chilled and very um, quite emotional, and they challenge um, feelings and uh, places where you go mentally, and then they challenge this, and you can sit and listen to an album. I'll probably put it on even when I'm happy or when I just want to listen to something chill. So there's a real kind of, my music genre is a a very I think Ed Sheeran was probably a little bit of a catalyst, in terms of discovering different artists, like Passenger, um,
Hmm.
but then it come from growing up in that, when I was like rebelled in 2003.
Yeah,
I'd be listening to, so when the Killers come on the scene, and the Kooks, Hard Fight. There's a band called Las Vegas. So but then you had things that Ed Sheeran come along, and then I started listening to Mumford and Sons, and most recently Tom Walker. And so there's if my go-to music was what I listen to outside is acoustic, um, chill, and quite just something you can just put on an easy listening. I don't really want to break my ears. Do you know what I mean? I just want to
yeah,
chill out and listen to good music, and kind of
yeah,
Mumford and Sons. I think Mumford and Sons were you got the kind of you got your big ones. So you got Ed Sheeran, you got the Killers, Ed Sheeran, Mumford and Sons, and Bears Den are probably my 4 go-tos if I'm going to stick a playlist on, or so I can't speak any highly enough of Bears Den, and their last album, Fragments. They picked out songs of some of their last 3 albums, and they rewrote it to a philharmonic. What's that the right word? Philharmonic orchestra.
yeah,
And I literally sat there in my car. My other half, she brought me the vinyl, um, and I literally put it on in my car, and to listen to your favorite songs, and to be rewritten with my musical theatre background, and to hear them out as an orchestra. I literally, like, it sounds really sad, but brought like a tear listening to this most incredible sound. And so yeah, I personally, I can't rate Bears Den enough, really. If there's an opportunity to plug them, I'll bang them on here, on a hip
yeah.
hop podcast.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like there's this for me. I think there's this kind of perception that you can only listen to one genre of music and that's it. You're stuck with that. You pick one and that's it.
Yeah,
And like when I say to people that I massive fan of the Killers, massive fan of Spandau Ballet.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Like,
yeah,
there's like I do love my hip hop, but there's hip hop is not every single moment of day. Like it can be that, but sometimes you just want something a bit
yeah,
different. Like Eagles of Death Metal is one of my all time favorite bands, and they're completely opposite to hip hop.
yeah,
Completely they're different. I've seen them live, and I've been like mosh pitting and
yeah,
stuff like that, and that's the kind of band they are.
yeah,
And that's the part of it. Is like hip hop is great and it's big, but there are other music choices out there, and
yeah,
it's just really interesting to hear like what people listen to outside of that, because that's you can lean to someone picking up something else they really
yeah.
like and adding that to uh,
I think that
their kind of Spotify playlist
yeah, yeah,
or something.
just to like it, and then it comes round. But I think that music can, all sorts of music can bring people together, and when you can sit and listen to something really deep, and like going back to say Linkin Park, or then going to really heavy metal, but some of the real heavy metal stuff that's out there is beautifully written. If you take away the shouting and the heavy noise, if you sit and read some of their
Yeah,
stuff, and but then you go to rap and hip hop, and they challenge, obviously, big on mental health, and big on how they grew up, and so and then you look at some of the acoustic stuff and some of the chill stuff. So it can be really deep, in it still has that same theme no matter what genre it is. You can still discuss the same subject.
yeah. I think that's one thing I'm trying to endeavor to highlight is that, and by getting people of different varying interests in hip hop, you will get those people that discover hip hop that isn't your stereotypical gangster rap, which everyone has to say, or your stereotypical mumble rap. There is so much depth to hip hop and rap, and it's progressing each day. And I think there's still this kind of like when someone says, when I say to someone, "Oh, you like rap?" They immediately you know go into yo 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 yo.
Oh
It's
yeah, yeah.
like
What is that? What
that,
is that? Yeah,
what is that? That where's that come from? What's happened? Like there's so much depth to it, and there's so much like there is literally something for everyone.
yeah,
Like I've been like jotting down some stuff I'm going to send you, and you will see like there's some stuff in there that I think you would like. Oh my god, who is this?
yeah,
I want to listen to more of this, and you'll go on and find more and more and more. But it's like that.
yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely out there. There's definitely like just would say don't restrict yourself
No.
to one thing and like really kind of explore everything. And if you like something, go deeper with
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Go into their back catalog, go to their
I
influences.
think new I
But
think
yeah,
new music's so important, and I joke around with my mate who produces music. He just did like a DJ and stuff, and I remember listening to Ed Sheeran before he was big, and I was like, mate, like Ed Sheeran, I'm not gonna lie, get on this. Try and mix something or listen to his stuff, and he's like, oh no, he's just a guy with a guitar. And there's another band, Two Door Cinema Club, who
I like them.
yeah, and I listened to some of their very early stuff, and I was like, mate, check out this band. And he's like, no, like, and then all of a sudden, and also Tom Walker, when Tom Walker, he wrote a song called Blessings, and you listen to that, and I was like, this guy's going to be huge. This guy's insane. He's wrote his lyrics about sitting there in his home, just sitting there playing FIFA, and you, it's like, okay, it's relatable content, and you're listening to this, this guy's voice, and you think Jesus. And so I like to discover new
Yeah,
new stuff. So I'm more than happy to, sit and go through it.
cool. So the final section is like your recommendations. Slash,
Okay.
like, tell me like what do you think the future of hip hop is going to look like? Because like for me, it's like it's you know late '60s, early '70s. It started, and now it's nearly about 40 years
Mm,
old. It's like kind of like for me, like if you're 40, midlife crisis, you start to experiment, you start to do new things, and that's what we're seeing in that music. You get you got your drill, you got your trap, you got
yeah.
your mumble rap, you got. So what do you think like was coming next for hip hop in your opinion?
See, in my opinion, in terms of a casual listener opinion, I I I don't think it's going. I don't. I might be wrong, but maybe it's not going to propel as much as it may do, because I
Mm,
think there is a way that we watch and a way we listen and a way that music is at us on different levels of media channels. So you take TikTok for example, becomes it's huge. This the app is absolutely huge, and there'll be a song, and it will become a trend for 2 minutes, and then it goes. So I don't think you are people are understanding, are, are maybe getting to know the artist and digging deeper into the artist, because all of a sudden the song becomes a gimmick because it's played on a platform for a 25-30 second video. So I think that there is a movement where people will have to be careful in how they listen to music, because people aren't getting out the inside um, of the CD anymore and reading the lyrics. Like when Mumford and
yeah.
Sons dropped their Sign No More album, their first one, I got it a day before it come out, and I sat there and listened to it on the stereo and read every song word for word to understand the song. And but that kind of that won't happen now. And I think that we need, and obviously especially with the last year with COVID and what have you, like there hasn't been, as far as I know, too much production with music. And I just think how we listen to music, I think if you are so in love with hip hop, and how much you embed your music listening and what have you, and your passion for hip hop. I just think that this is just my opinion, but you people are going to have to be more vigilant in how they listen, because I think that
Yeah,
it could get lost in comedic gimmicks and putting a dance to it for to get someone else famous. So people need to probably stick to being true and relatable to what they love doing and putting in the graft, instead of just releasing a there you go, that would go well on TikTok, let's release that. So maybe
there's definitely is that. There's that. Um, I think you're seeing because of the TikTok, Instagram, those dance
mm,
challenges, popularities, memes. There's this two prong approach from um, musicians, and it seems to be like from what I watch of memes and stuff on social
mm,
media and stuff, it seems to be more of that hip hop rap vibe that gets these
yeah,
challenges, you know, and it seems to be a tactic that is being used to um, sell records, gain
yeah,
traction, and then they release the album. But you seem to be running the risk that um, you could just have a series of songs that, as you say, popular for 2 weeks and then done,
yeah,
and then no one ever listens to it. So no one wants to hear an album from you
there's no
because, as you
longevity.
say, is a gimmick
Yeah,
at the end of the day.
and I think that's what
And
you're in danger of doing. And the
yeah,
longevity of an artist now is based on one song, and it's so you, I think artists have to be careful in terms of how they are producing their music, and they doing it to make money, or they doing it for the love of the music. And
yeah.
I think it's again an interesting topic in terms of how people are producing music and why they're producing music. And yeah,
Where it goes and
yeah,
where they upload it. I definitely think that um, there are there's definitely like two. There's an approach to that. There's to be what they call the SoundCloud rapper, get your song on
yeah,
SoundCloud or TikTok and thing. But there's some big artists use that to their advantage. They create a buzz, create a hype, but they also put the work in,
yeah.
and it makes sense if you see what I mean. If they have a song that becomes a you know
Like Selfish Love, that
uh,
when that Selfish Love, and there was that dance attached to that, and then it was released. And I
yeah,
think I can't remember who done a cover who used that track. it was out recently in the last year, um,
Yeah,
and that all of a sudden propelled that song, and I actually quite liked it. Like, um,
yeah,
and but then I don't know anything about the artist. I just know it because of the song, and it so
yeah. So that's the thing. It's a tricky one. The song could become bigger than you
yeah,
itself,
yeah,
and that could happen. I mean, no one cares about you. Everyone will just want you to, play that song. One person that I think that's done it really well, who's had a viral hit and then gone on to make more songs, which I've been interested because they're an interesting person
yeah.
and they have something to say, is Little Nas X, Old Town Road.
Okay.
That was everywhere at one
Oh yeah,
point.
I know that one. I know that one. Yeah,
But if you go and listen to his other songs, they're quite
yeah,
good. And he's an interesting person. He has something to say. He is a rapper that is openly gay, flamboyant,
right.
and I think he's gay. I could be wrong.
Okay, okay. Hey,
I just thought about that. Is it? Am I
is
just
he?
putting that out there? Have I
Not
just
a problem if
outed
he's
him?
gay or like.
Outed it, but I think that, but there's no. But he's very interesting. He's an interesting, and he has, you know, uh, uh, a point and the substance. He's into country music, and he put that into
Yeah,
hip hop. And there was this whole big ordeal that he wasn't allowed on the country billboard in America, and then he
yeah,
had to get you know Billy Ray Cyrus on his song for it to even go on there. And it's just like there's substance to that. There's like a even if the song is just the catchy hook that everyone
yeah,
remembers, but there's a substance to the person as well. And I think there's a that could be where some people go wrong is like they don't realize that to have longevity and make it in the artists that stay around for ages that keep getting played.
yeah.
There's something to them. You can't just release you know a viral song and then off the
To
back
make it.
do it.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
yeah, so I think it's
yeah,
so that was kind of where my my thoughts are what I've been thinking about the last couple of days in terms of what's good to discuss, and I think it's um definitely a top. I think artists probably have to be true to themselves and what they want to do, and not try and jump on a commercial bandwagon because they think they're gonna land well. They need to stick with their
yeah,
trade, and that goes back to my enjoyment of Bears Den, the fact that I've stuck with them through 4 albums and they're not huge, and I've seen them twice, and they're not doing it for a gimmick, they're doing it for the love of music. And I think hip
yeah,
hop artists and rap artists with, when they go viral, are they doing it for the love of music? Are they doing it for, are they doing it just to make money? So I think how it moves forward, like there's that. But my only like kind of recommendation, I think you've covered this in the question.
mm,
There's a guy, and I shared it with you. He's called Big Heath, and
yeah,
he was on Fire in the Booth, and he absolutely killed it. Absolutely killed it in there. And so
mm,
again, he has like a comedic aspect of like this song called Salmon, and there's this really really funny bar in there about him and his mates are going to play five-a-side, and he's like, hang on a minute, oh, I'm going in goal. I didn't even get to vote where I'm going. And they're like, yeah, but Big Keith, you're 20 stone. And it's like, he's like, oh yeah, fair. Like, so there's
yeah,
like, I like, it kind of goes back to Eminem, that comedic, uplifting um,
yeah.
album or song to put you in a good mood. So it's impact makes an impact.
Yeah, I listened to that song. I thought that was a really good
Mm,
song, and I've put it on kind of the back burner to listen to more of his
yeah,
stuff. But yeah, well, that's it, mate.
nice.
Thank you for coming on. Like as as I said at the start, I thought it'd be really interesting to speak to you about this because, like, I put your name down, like one of the first people I put down to have on this because I know you like music,
Yeah,
but I didn't know if you like hip hop. And then when I released first episode, you got in touch, and I thought, actually, this is going to make a really good episode. I've really enjoyed the chat and like your stories that you've had with hip hop because they're really like happen at pivotal moments in your
yeah.
life, like early childhood. So that's been really good. Do you have anything to plug? Do you got anything to
Um,
plug about?
Travel, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. My own
yeah,
channel.
yeah,
No,
yeah. What I'll do, I'll put those all in the links
yeah,
below
yeah.
for people to check them out and stuff. But yeah, yeah, I'll Callan runs Travel Yea Yea Yea, which is a page about travel, as it says.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good,
Have a little look.
and he's got some YouTube, have a YouTube
Yeah,
video. Yeah,
yeah. So,
well,
but no, like
yeah,
it's been really good coming on, and it's been really interesting unearthing, um, actually things. Oh God, I remember that. Oh, I remember that. Like, actually,
yeah,
maybe I was more into hip hop than I thought. Just not in
yeah,
2003, and maybe
yeah,
it's a real chip on my shoulder that I need to get rid of, and maybe I bloody
yeah,
love Nelly. I don't know. But no, it's been a pleasure
yeah.
coming on, mate. It's been I didn't
Yeah.
realise how much we would be able to talk and and go into detail about it. But I hope I've not bored you too much, man.
No, mate, it's been absolutely a pleasure. It's been so interesting to hear like your choices and
Yeah.
stuff. So
Cheers, man.
yeah, thanks again.
No worries. Thank you
Yeah,
very much, mate.
no problem. I'm gonna hit stop
Yeah.
record, and then it should stop. That was the episode with Callan. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a really fun episode to record with him. Let me just look at, because obviously I mentioned that I was sending him stuff. Recommend. I'll just say, yeah, one of them was Little Dicky. Send him some Mac Miller. I'm gonna send him some Anderson .Paak. I think he would like that. But yeah, I would. Yeah, just generally hope you enjoyed the episode. There's more to come. I've got loads more planned in. The goal is to have 26 episodes out this year. But yeah, hope you enjoy. We are now available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and YouTube. So check it out. Thanks for listening. Bye.